Hello, welcome to Mountain Craft Studio. My name's Christine. Come on in and I'll show you what I've been working on. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I have lots of fun things to talk about and to show you. I've been pretty busy with my hands. I had a few days in there where I wasn't able to do anything. I'd overworked some muscles there for a while, and I started to get into a bit of a panic because I'm one of those people, I always have to have my hands busy doing something, and I'm not really sure what people do that aren't crafters. Like, do they just sit there? I don't know. Anyway, I managed to get through it by going through all of my old quilting magazines and sorting those out and picking 20 more projects to work on. But then I also have been doing some other things. I did fully finish my Peace on Earth sampler. And by La Di Da Da. I love this. It's not completely fully finished. I actually just have this tacked in here. It's not laced yet. You can see it's just floating in there. I picked this frame up at Hobby Lobby. I happened to be in there looking for some spray paint, and I saw this frame and it was 50% off. So the total was like $12.49, I think. And I thought for $12.49, it might fit. It's worth a shot. And I really, really lucked out because it fits perfectly. It's exactly the right frame for this piece, I think. I love it. Very, very pleased with this one. Can't wait to get that up. I'm actually going to finish lacing that this afternoon so I can get it up on the wall. What else have I been working on? I have been diligently plugging away at the Modern Folk Embroidery Forget-Me-Not sampler, which most of you have seen, but in case you haven't, I'm following the instructions of Katie Strachan Embroidery, and she has some tutorials up regarding a simple harmony box, and she's actually taken the box and wrapped it with this sampler. And so hers is red silk. It's gorgeous. I'm doing mine with black, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm almost done with the lid. It's been a challenge, and I will say that because it does have to fit perfectly because it is going around the box, and everything needs to line up just right in order to fit on the box properly. So I have had a lot of unpicking because part of the problem is that when I get into a geometric pattern like this, I get cocky and think that I know what I'm doing. And I don't know what I'm doing. So then I have to rip it out. Really need to slow down on this one. I thought I had picked everything out for and had plans on finishing the box. There's some papers and things that I just knew were at my other studio down in Alabama. And when I was down there, I looked for them and they are not there. I have no idea where those papers ended up. They may have been missing for years, but I didn't find any. So still going back to plan B. I haven't figured out the inside yet. I'm thinking about it and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I have some ideas, which I'll show you here in a little bit in my haul section. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the letters. So on the pattern, it shows some white letters, black floss for the patterns, and then a dark background. And what I was trying to accomplish was a light background, the black look of the patterns, and then a darkish brownish gold look for the letters. And I found this trim. Can I get this out of here? I should have done that before. Oh, maybe you could see it in there. So this actually has some sparkle, right? It's kind of a taupe color. but it has some sparkle. It's actually a vintage trim. This is going to go around the lid, the edge of the lid once everything's done in order to finish it off. And so I wanted to mimic that look in those letters. And so I have some taupe, 840 is the number of DMC. And then I bought the DMC diamond thread, and my thinking was I want to take a single strand of the DMC and then untwist the diamond thread. The diamond, actually, this one looks like it has 3 plies. Yes, 3 plies. And so if you undo these, there's just a teeny tiny, I don't know if you can see that, teeny tiny little thread that I then want to wrap with the single DMC. I don't know if this is going to work or not. If it doesn't, I'll just go back into using just the diamond, but my goal is to make it look as if it was a thread that has somewhat worn the shiny part off. If that makes any sense. But my goal for the overall project is to make it look as if it was a project or a beautiful embroidered box that's been passed down in my family for generations. I've mentioned on previous episodes that I have a lot of Quaker ancestors, and so that's my goal, is to make the entire thing kind of dedicated to that side of the family. And I've even considered on the inside of the lid, I'm going to try to put in a family tree that shows who's who and highlights all the women of the family, because, you know, all the men get all the attention all the time and the ladies need some recognition. So that is my goal, and I've got a few other details that I'll show you here in just a little bit, but that's been my main focus for the last few weeks. I have had a lot of other things going on as far as family things and lots of projects around the house. We're still, we've finished this front half of the studio, but we still have the back half of the studio, the whole entire house, the barn. There's all kinds of work to do. The yard. It's this house, this property was neglected, incredibly neglected. So it's not horrible. It's not horrible things that need to be done, but every surface needs to be buffed and polished and painted and redone. And so this is going to be our never-ending project. Definitely, it's nowhere near as bad as, you know, what was that movie where the people, they fell through the floor in the house back in the 80s? Remember that? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's not that bad, but it's close. All the mechanicals and everything have been replaced. We don't have much left that we can replace. And we're finally to the cosmetics. But so that's been taking up a lot of my time. But I have managed to get a few other things done. I said last time that I wanted to get started on the Needfuls by the Scarlet house. I wanted to get these projects on the go because I love them all, and I did. I have a tiny little start on the coverlet one, and I wanted to do that one right away. One, because I love these colors and I can't wait to get this project started. But I want to actually take, it says Renner, R-E-N-N-E-R, Fancy Weaver, Ohio. My ancestors, as I've mentioned in some other episodes, were weavers. And so I actually have my 4th great grandmother. Her name was Fanny Brooks. She was born Fanny Allison, but she married Justice Brooks. And she had, they had 8 children, and then he passed away. He was lost at sea, and she ended up needing to raise those 8 children, right? A couple of them were older, a couple of the boys were older, and I'm sure they helped considerably with the farm and all that, but she needed to have income. And since her grandfather and great-grandfather and another great-grandfather were professional weavers, she had access to, and probably knowledge of, weaving. And so I did find somewhere along in my research at one point that she had taken in weaving, and it would have been right around the 1820s to 1830s that she was doing this, and which was the exact time when this type of coverlet was extremely popular. Most of these coverlets were woven by professionals because it did take a more fancy loom than what was available to the common person. But she would have had access to one of those. And while I don't, I've tried to research it, and I've begged and begged and begged, hoping that I would find something, a newspaper article or anything saying that she had actually done the fancy weaving. But I can't find anything. I haven't been able to. But by golly, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and put her name on it. Anyway, because I think she would have. I think she would have woven those. And it may be that she just didn't put her name on them. And some of those coverlets that are out there with no name or location, maybe one of those is hers. Or maybe she only did the overshot coverlet. Who knows? It's impossible to tell. But I want to put Brooks Fancy Weaver, Ohio, because she actually lived in Ohio when she was doing this. So that I want to personalize it. So I did notice that while the pattern doesn't give a complete alphabet with that same particular font, there's something very, very similar in this book, the Ultimate Modus Source Book. So if you wanted to change yours as well, I'd recommend you look in there. You can find some letters that will work to make that substitution. But anyway, so I started on that. That's kind of my, I have a couple different spots in the house where I sit and stitch, and this is my upstairs. My brain is too tired to think project. No rush or anything, but I will, I would like to get it done. I'm using the called for fabric and flosses for that, just because they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. So that's been fun. So that's my other work in progress. I have gone off the rails as usual. I say that every time. And I have 2 projects that are going into my rotation. I'm not into mania and starting projects like crazy or anything like that, but I do have a couple of things. The first one I wanted to show is actually, this is going to be a long-term stitch for the year. It's a gift for somebody, which I don't think she watches this. Pretty sure she doesn't. But it is the Until We Meet Again by Heartstring Samplery. It's perfect for her. It's her style. And these colors are beautiful. These are the called for Weeks Dye Works colors. If you look at them, gorgeous. And I'm putting it on, let's see, platinum. This white dark platinum. And this is gonna be, as usual, I'm not gonna frame it and hang it on the wall. It's gonna be a fun finish. But I could, when I saw this online and read what it said, I had to have it. It was exactly what I was looking for this person. So I probably won't update you much with this one. This is probably gonna go under the radar with a big finale later in the year. Then, here's where I really went off the rails. It happens, right? Like every once in a while, right? You see something and it's like, okay, drop everything. We're doing this. When I saw this, and I saw the actual photos, like my mouth was agog. I absolutely love this. And it's funny because if you would ask me, okay, what does the most beautiful sample in the world to you look like? And this is not what I would have described, but I love this. This is amazing. So this is the Harriet McEwen sampler, 1830. It is by The Wishing Thorn, which I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up this name and I'm so sorry, but it's either Birgit Tolman or Birgit, B-I-R-G-I-T. If anybody knows how to pronounce that, please tell me so I don't keep saying this wrong. It's a new pattern. It's copyright 2022, and it's available, I believe, on Etsy, and I will link it in the description box. And I'm going to have to take, I'll hold this up here again. I'm gonna have to borrow one of her photographs to put up here so that you can see the detail. It's gorgeous. This border, these colors, it's gorgeous. So I like this enough that I am actually breaking into my most precious linen stash, which is, this is the Needle and Flax Steinbeck. I love this. This is my favorite. It's my precious. And I'm taking these are the colors. Look at these. Gorgeous. Gorgeous! Cannot wait to get this done. I considered several other fabrics because in the photographs it looks like it's a little bit more beige, a little bit more, has a yellow undertone to it, which is lovely. But it actually, when I put the flosses on that, some of them kind of started ghosting out. And that's not the look I want for this one. I want this border to reach out and say, hello! So, because that's what attracted me to it. Cannot wait to get this one started. This one, I have no idea where this was done. It looks English, who knows? She was 9 years old when she did it. It's pretty, and I like it, and I want it. Simple as that. No other connection to it, but it is gorgeous. I love those colors. And then, as I continued to spin off the rails, as one does, I did a little more shopping. I tried and tried and tried to resist Philadelphia vine, but I kept seeing it. It's so pretty. This one is like right behind Miss McEwen. I love it. I went ahead and kitted it up with the Dinky Dyes, the silks, because there are only a few colors in here. And I think I chose gray. I think the fabric is gray. Yes. 40 Count Weeks Dye Works gray to go with the colors, the Dinky Dyes and the Gloriana. Very pretty. Of course, everything she does is pretty. I have to say, the Scarlet House might be one of my favorites. It just might be. If you were to do a survey of my purchased charts, you may find that to be true. Then, so as I was pondering the Simple Harmony box and what I was going to do with it, I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to put a folding type thing under the lid that includes a ancestry chart, pedigree chart, what else do I want in there, right? What would I want of my ancestors, right? What would I think was really, really cool? So trying to recreate something, you know, that they may have had. And I have been going through some of their wills and things like that to see what I could find. And there was definitely some quilters in my ancestry. You could tell that by what they had listed. There were lots of quilts, and the way one of them was listed was, like you could tell she was doing it and then selling them there, because it was lots of either that or she was making a lot of them for herself. But given that time period, I think she was probably selling them because she had a lot of, you know, kind of like I do, fabric. Anyway, I'm not selling mine, but who cares what they think 20 years from now? Anyway, so I started thinking, what would I want in there? What would be a precious item? And so sewing paraphernalia, right, would be lovely because, of course, that we know they did that. They had to back then. They were making a lot of their own clothing and that whatnot. And I found a few things that I thought would be perfect. So the first one is by Ellen Chester, With My Needle. It's a Quaker pattern book, right? These were little books that they would make up that had the patterns and whatnot for future reference, right? In order to continue making things and marking things. I thought that was cute. I think I will definitely be doing that. This one, the Ackworth School is one that this one is based off of. She also has an alphabet samplings book, which I kind of just wanted this for the alphabets too, so that I could put them on things, but I thought this would be really cute to have in there as well, along with some little sewing items, vintage and antique sewing items. I think that'd be really, really cute. And then I couldn't stop myself. This is a multiplication table. Look at that, isn't that cute? I had a horn book when I was a kid. My parents, I had explained like in my first video, my parents were big into the Back to the Land movement of the 70s, and we went around, and also history, that's where I, you know, got it from. And we visited a lot of historic places and things like that, and I had a horn book, and it looked like an antique. I'm sure it was a museum trinket that you bought, right, and kept, but I had one, and I would give my left arm for that, to have that back. It was so cool. I don't know whatever happened to it. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to make this one just because. I may keep it in the box, I may not, who knows. So, in that same vein, I'm thinking about sewing paraphernalia. What would I want to have in there? And in the meantime, the Piecework, latest Piecework magazine shows up. And I'm browsing it, and I see that Dawn Cook Roningen, I can never pronounce her name right, Dawn, hello Dawn, she has a beautiful article about the indispensable bodkin. And as I was reading the article and looking closely at the pictures, I thought this would be really neat to have inside of the Simple Harmony box. I really want to make one of these. And so I really started studying the photograph. Thought I think I can make one of those. Not real sure how that's put together. And I know a lot of others out there, you probably do the same thing. You really study something, you're like, I think I can make that. This picture really, look at that. Aren't they pretty? I think that would be something that would go in that box beautifully. So I'm thinking, oh man, I really would like to figure that out. I'll have to sit down and Google some more examples and that sort of thing and see if I can come up with something. Well, in the meantime, I turn the page and there's instructions on how to make one. Yay! I was very pleased. And not only do you get the instructions on how to make one just like that, you can order a kit, which I did. I shoomed that into my in basket or into my cart as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Dawn, for putting this out there. That's lovely. Looking forward to making that. That's going to be the perfect addition to that project. So that brings me to sewing things. Last time I filmed a video, I had the Stars on the Prairie quilt top finished, but did not yet have it quilted. So I'm going to insert a photo of it here or here, it's huge. It's an enormous quilt. I actually made it, we have a oversized queen size bed, and I made it so that it would hang down considerably on both sides. I kind of wanted it to look like a coverlet, but and not a complete bedspread, but kind of in between. And so I did make it quite big. I'm not going to hold the whole thing up because I can't. It's way too big. But you can kind of see the quilting up close. I decided, since I have 2 cats that like to hack up hairballs, and this is going to be up in daily use on the bed, that I was not going to custom quilt it. I just did a overall edge to edge loose feathers pattern because I know that this quilt's going to be washed frequently, whether I want to wash it or not. And it will be covered in cat hair at some point. So, very pleased with how that turned out though. This is definitely one of my favorites. I really, really like, my favorite quilts are the ones that actually look like old reproductions, or that are reproductions of old quilts. And I really generally like the simpler looking quilts. That's just what draws me. I love them. They're definitely my style. Just a simple look. The next project is the Lincoln's Watch project. I was just sewing these together last time. This is a pattern by Red Crinoline Quilts, and this one, it looks complicated, but it's not. It's very, very easy. This is a kaleidoscope block. I've done it before, and what makes it look complicated is the use of color and where you put the lights in the dark. And so it looks more complicated than it actually is. I'm going to insert another picture because I am only 5 foot tall, and so you're not going to see the whole thing. Let me show you some of it. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I cannot take credit for the colors. This was a kit that I bought with a gift certificate, I think, that someone gave me, and I bought it at Quilts Plus in Indianapolis at least 8 years ago, or whenever it was that they were, before they closed, or before they changed ownership, I should say. But I really, really like it. Really, really like it. I'm not sure how I'm going to quilt this one yet. It's pretty busy, so I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I want to custom quilt it because, you know, that's the urge, but I don't know if that's going to give me the old-fashioned look that I want, so may have to just ponder this one for a while. If you have any brilliant ideas, let me know. So since those 2 projects are off my list, I wanted to move on to another project. This is one that I found a picture on the internet at least 12, 15 years ago of a quilt that I wanted to make. I loved it. It's an antique quilt that was shown, and I saved this picture on Pinterest. And I've had it all this time. I love this quilt. I love how it's put together. I love the simplicity of it. I love the way they did the binding. It's so cute. So I found, when I was up at Shipshewana at the last quilt retreat that I was on, I found a template where you could cut this these diamonds out on jelly rolls, right? And it's really easy. So you just slice them right up. And I had these fabrics, which I'm trying to remember who the manufacturer is. I can't remember, but it was a couple of different jelly rolls. Actually, I think it was a couple of different manufacturers even. And it was red and brown color combinations. And so I sliced those up. And this basket sits right next to my sewing machine. And this is going to be my leader ender project. For those who aren't quilters, a leader ender project is something where you have pieces that you've cut up and it's sitting next to your sewing machine. And as you work on a different project, you run those through every once in a while in order to always have something in your, or under your needle. And the next thing you know, you just keep doing it and then setting them aside, right? And the next thing you know, you've sewn a second quilt. The last project I want to start soon, I have a need for, is a Kim Deal bedrunner. I love Kim Deal. If you watched the studio tour, you saw several of her quilts hanging on my wall in the studio. I love her bold use of color. Her color combinations are always fantastic. I love the oversaturated look that she has. And so I've had this book for a really long time. And I've wanted for a long time to make this bedrunner. So if you look, it has wool applique along with piecing. It's beautiful. And what I want to do with it though, I could never have this on my bed. My cats would just absolutely have it covered in hair because that wool would attract it like crazy. But what I want to do is actually use it to go underneath the spool cabinets and on top of the little bin cubes. I have a full-size quilt on there now. It has to be covered. It doesn't, the top and the side, they don't look together. They don't fit right. And so I need something to disguise that. And I thought it'd be really neat. I could actually just make a longer bedrunner and have it, and it'll fit. It's the perfect size to go over, and it'll drape down both sides. And wouldn't that be lovely? I thought so. I thought so much that after I bought the fabric, this is the Right is Rain Fat Quarter Bundle. I bought this from Fat Quarter Shop. Love it. I'll add that along with some of my supplies that I already have to make that. And I love this project so much that when I saw something hanging on the wall and Always in Stitches in Noblesville, I bought the book again. 2 of them. My friend Diane is laughing because she teases me all the time about how many books I buy. I buy a lot of books. Books are good. Anyway, if you would like to own a Kim Deal book, Simple Harvest book, please do the usual. Leave me a comment and say Harvest, use Harvest in the comment. Do all the usual things. You have to be 18 or older in order to participate so that I can ask you for your address. You would need to not say giveaway or win prizes, that sort of thing, because we don't want to attract the bots. I have enough problems. Bots. Which I have a funny story about bots. So the other day when I was putting together the Lincoln's Watch quilt, I was sewing along out here and my phone starts binging and making these noises, and I thought, that's weird, what's going on? And so finally it kept doing it, and then finally I just looked at the phone and it was telling me that 4 people subscribed all at once to the channel, and I thought, no they didn't. That's not that's not even remotely right. Can't be. And so it did it again, and I thought, oh great. Now, not only do they have a bot that will leave comments, but they figured out a bot to make people subscribe. Lovely. Isn't that fun? Anyway, I thought I'll just ignore it for now. So I kept doing my thing. Later on, I went in to eat supper, or to cook supper, and I set my phone up on above the sink, and I started chopping vegetables, and I turned on Flosstube, and Brenda and the Cereal Starter were the first ones up. Started playing them, and I'm listening to Brenda right while I'm chopping vegetables, and I'm making a mental note that I really want to go see this cool studio, because this really sounds like something I'd want to go see, right? Eventually the light slowly dawned. Like, oh yeah, I would like to see that. It's in my backyard. Anyway, that was funny. Thank you, Brenda. I really got a good laugh out of that one. My last project that I want to talk about is knitting. So my sister-in-law is a knitwear designer. She has her design name is Madonna Marie. You can find her on Ravelry and other places if you just Google Madonna Marie. And this pattern is called Boldly Spoken Watch Cap. That's, you see it? It's really, really neat. This is a reversible hat. And the reason I jumped on getting this made, even though it's not hat season, is because I recognized that this was going to be a perfect pattern for hand spun yarn. And while I'm not that great of a knitter, I do really enjoy making the yarn, and I enjoy spinning the yarn. And so these are colors that this is yarn I've made myself. I purchased the fiber from some artists that actually make really good color choices, and they sell on Etsy. Some of them sell through other means, their own websites, but I really liked how this looks. It's you can do this side that makes it have more knit stitch with smaller purls, or you can reverse it. More purls, less knits. Looks good either way, I think. And obviously I have enough left over. I'm gonna make another one, and it'll be solid on top, stripes on the bottom. You could put this on a man, you could put this on a woman, right? This is a very, very versatile hat pattern. Really, really liked it. And it's, look at all that stretch, like it'll fit. It's a good one to use for giving gifts if you don't know the person's head size. I run into that problem a lot. I made a Purdue hat for my stepdad once that could have fit 3 people in it. Did not fit him at all. Anyway, I fixed it, but eventually. And then I wanted to show you this. This is my, isn't it this cute? This is my fun find of recent thrifting. I found this in the thrift store near Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and I just had to have it. My husband looked at me, he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. It's cute. It's a spinning wheel. What's not to love? Anything miniature, you know, you have to have. It's cute. And then my collectible for the episode is this one. This is a box with a handle, obviously. All right, I don't know if this is a sewing box or not. It's lightweight. It's not super heavy. The grain looks like it's oak, but it's not heavy enough to be oak. So I'm not real sure. Has an interesting look to it. This may have been a toolbox. I do want to say that I've seen old antique toolboxes that are in this same kind of configuration. I don't know this was ever used as a toolbox, though it's in too good of shape. The lid is interesting as it just lifts off. You have to lift it up and then off. And then it had a tray in it at one time, but it was missing when I purchased this. And so I had my husband make a tray to put in there. It has a nice curved section in the middle to separate. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with this yet. I'm gonna finish it a different color, I think, so that it will look obvious that it's a different, that it's not original. Anyway, I like it. I think it's neat. I'm using it as a sewing box, but if you have any ideas on what this is originally, let me know. I think it's kind of neat. And that's all I have to share today. So thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me and for leaving comments. I've really enjoyed getting to know everyone that way. It's been really, really fun. And I will see you next time. Thanks.